Hello, my loves, and welcome to your ASMR Reiki healing session. Today's video has been requested by one of you. We will be working on the energetics of imposter syndrome. For those of you who don't know what imposter syndrome is, it's basically a feeling that we are not worthy of the position that we're in right now. A lot of times it has to do with career, but it can influence other parts of your life as well, where you are doubting your own capabilities, your own achievements, and there is this underlying feeling or dread that they'll find out that you're not worthy of being in the position that you're in right now, that you're going to be caught somehow. So we're going to be working on the energetics of that. I always advise to seek professional help from a counselor or a psychologist. If these feelings are very overwhelming, it can really benefit to talk to someone about this. But today we'll work on the energetics of this syndrome. So, I feel like there are two big components to the imposter syndrome. One being that there is a lot of comparison with other people. A lot of times our feelings of being an imposter show up when we start comparing ourselves to the people around us, our co-workers, other professionals in our field. And on the other side, the sort of second component to it is that we underestimate our capabilities, our talents, and that we are too harsh on ourselves. We approach ourselves too much from a perfectionistic kind of view. We put too much pressure on ourselves. So we'll be working with those two components today, letting go of comparison and learning to be softer towards ourselves. So for the tingle aspect of today's video, we have some crystals. I'm also bringing in feather. There will be some very light tapping. My nails are quite short at the moment, so it'll be a very soft tapping like this, like the sound of the rain. But if you do know that this kind of tapping will keep you awake if you're watching this before falling asleep, then click the link below or above to the playlist that has no tapping at all. So with that introduction out of the way, let's get started with our healing. So first thing I'm going to do is ground the energy with this beautiful massive crystal that I found here on a walk here in Ibiza. Just one of my hairs here. There you go. And this crystal has a very grounding kind of energy to it. It's quite heavy, but it reminds me of the earth. So it feels very grounding and very cleansing. It also gives me a feeling of stability, of stable foundations, because you can see all of the layers of crystal deposit here. So when I look at this crystal, it reminds me to put down solid layers of foundation in my life, to take a very sort of steady approach. So that's why it feels very grounding, very foundational. So I'm going to be putting this crystal right at your feet, just in between them, to help ground the energies of today and the healing. And then to activate the session, I'm going to draw some Reiki symbols. Chakra, chakra, chakra. Seiki, seiki, seiki. Chakra, chakra, chakra. This is just a balancing combination of Reiki symbols to help rebalance our energies and our mind, come back to a softer place within ourselves. So, I'm going to take some time first to cleanse your aura. And for today, I have some palo santo, which I rarely use. This is actually my friend's palo santo that I'm living with. I would advise against buying palo santo. You can still obviously use the ones that you have at home, but an endangered species at this time, tree species. You could use maybe incense instead at home if you have those. So I really only use it for special occasions, and I thought imposter syndrome is quite something that a lot of people deal with. So I'm just going to take some time to light Palo Santo. And if you've never smelled Palo Santo before, it is a very comforting, warm, woody smell. But funnily enough, it also has a bit of freshness to it. It's quite hard to describe. So I'll be using my feather along with the Palo Santo to clear your aura. So let's take a moment to fully arrive in your body. Notice how your body is feeling right in this moment. And very gently start deepening your breath, pulling the air all the way deep down into the belly. And then a full exhale out. Just going to relight the Palo Santo. There. And just feel the smoke creating a little cocoon around you, and it burns away any worries of the day, any parts of today that have been lingering in your aura, any interactions with people, any words that were exchanged, any worries about tomorrow or the future or the past. Just allow all of those to fall away to the side for now. Just feel it drop off of your energetic body. And feel a sense of lightness coming back in. Keep breathing deeply. If there's any uncomfortable sensations, like anxiety still lingering around, just imagine creating space for it in your body. Creating space. Okay. I have a few crystals. The first one is celestite. I'll be using this one for your third eye and your temples as well. We're going to start the healing at your head, right by the temples. And we're going to be working first on that feeling of comparing yourself to everyone. So by holding it right next to you here by your temples. And I want you to focus on the ways in which you compare yourself to others. Just for a moment, really bring to mind the exact words that you say to yourself in those moments. What parts of your life are you comparing with others? Just really bring it to your awareness. Bring it to the light. A lot of times when we compare ourselves to others, we end up putting the other person on a pedestal. We forget that they're human and they have flaws, and also that, especially when it is someone that is further ahead in life than us, we tend to forget that they have traversed quite a long road to get to where they are. So now I just want you to bring that person to mind that you're comparing yourself to. See their humanness. See the wholeness of who they are. Both the things that we look up to, their flaws, just see them in their full spectrum. Remind yourself that they're human too. And even though they might look perfect on the outside, they're definitely not on the inside. And then also imagine the road, the long road that they had to take to get to where they are now. They were a beginner at some point as well. They probably started in a very similar place as you. So just bring that to mind. totally okay to be a beginner at something, to not have it fully mastered yet. We can live in a society where everything's becoming so instant. But there are some things that still take time. Take time to develop, including our confidence and our skills. It takes time to develop. So let's take our idols off of their pedestal. See their humanness. And remind yourself that they were a beginner at some point as well. And that they're not perfect. Neither are you. And that's completely fine. That's very normal. It's very human. So, now that we have kind of leveled out the playing field a little bit, and we're actually properly looking at the people that we compare ourselves to, and we can see that they're not gods, they're not perfect. Let's now take a moment. We're going to tune into the third eye, and I want you to connect to your higher self and look at the situation you find yourself in from your higher self's perspective. Now, your higher self is not your perfect self. Your higher self is the most loving version of yourself. The part of you that is highly evolved, but that does not mean perfect. It just means that they have fully mastered themselves, their emotions, and they live from a place of love. So I'm going to bring the celestite back in. Bring some Reiki to your third eye along with the healing of the celestite. And now I want you to look at the situation you find yourself in and the thoughts you feel about yourself, and look at them from a higher perspective. If you were your higher self right now, what would they say? How would they look at the situation? Tune into that right now. Stay connected to that place of your higher self. I really like doing this exercise when I feel overwhelmed, connecting in with my higher self, because it helps me gain a new perspective on the situation. A lot of times we get so focused on the little things, and we put so much weight in the little things, thinking that they'll make or break us. When in reality, most of the times that is not the case. Now that we have opened your third eye a bit and helped you connect to your higher self, I want to go down to your throat, and I'm going to connect your throat to your heart. So I'm going to have one hand in front of your throat, one in front of your heart, along with 2 different crystals. And I want to connect the throat and the heart so that we can speak internally to ourselves from a place of love, being a lot softer in our communication towards ourselves. But I think a very important piece when we are dealing with imposter syndrome is also communicating to others in a more real way, a more authentic way, where we let go of the veil of perfectionism. We stop trying to put up this mask of perfectionism, and we allow people to look into our world and how we truly feel. Meaning, if we don't know the answer to something, we just tell them we don't know the answer. I think a lot of people think that people who are very wise and smart or very far along in their career, they're experts, they have all the answers, and that's simply not true. Even the biggest expert still has a lot of questions that they can't answer. So let's give ourselves some grace, and let's be honest in our communication to others. It might be very freeing for someone else to hear that you don't know the answer. It gives permission to the other person as well to just own where they're at. So, for the crystals, first one is this blue apatite, which I'll be using on your throat. And then this green jade, which I'll be using on your heart. So, along with the Reiki, of course. So, going over your throat with the blue howlite, and then your heart with the green jade. And first off, I want you to imagine a path of energy opening between your throat and your heart chakra. You could imagine it like a highway of energy opening up, unblocking between your throat and your heart. And this highway has lanes in both directions, going from your throat to your heart, from your heart to your throat, so that we speak to ourselves internally from a place of love, a place of softness, a place of grace. And we also speak to others from the heart, outward movement of energy. We speak to others from the heart. We open up about our own imperfections and we own them. And owning where we're at in our journey can be a very, very freeing experience. Because then all of a sudden, it no longer is wrong for you to be where you are. It's no longer wrong for you to be a beginner, to not have it all figured out. And then the softer we become in the communication to ourselves, the easier it becomes to own our capabilities, our talents. So, just feel the energy exchange between your throat and your heart. Feel those parts of your body opening up energetically, releasing, letting go. Breathing into your heart, into your throat. Really good. And just the last few words of affirmation here is that we're all winging it here in life. Even the people who look like they have it all together are still winging it. I can promise you there's absolutely no one on this earth who has all their ducks in a row and who has it all together. So it's totally okay to not have it figured out. I'm pretty sure that we'll never fully figure it out, and that's okay. There's a beauty in there. There's a freedom in there as well. So it's okay to not have all your ducks in a row, to not have it all figured out. Just own it. Opening up. Okay. Just stay in that space. Just gonna be drawing out some excess energy here. Just pulling it out. Just moving away any excess bits of energy. Any last bits that we want to let go of. Take a deep breath in. Exhale out through your mouth. Good. Feel free to do a few more if that feels good. Maybe even sigh it out. Just deeply let go. Then our last step, I'm going to be using my selenite wands. To lock in the healing, to set it in on an energetic level. So that this healing has longevity. It actually helps restructure things. on a more long-term perspective. So, just going to be gliding these right over your aura, just the outer layers. Just imagine this energy crystallizing, setting in our intention to heal the imposter syndrome. To really allow this healing to continue doing its work on a deep level. Going all the way around your body, down to your feet, over your head, down the center line. I'm going to come a bit closer to the back. All the way down. Okay. Okay. You're all set, my love. I hope that you enjoyed this healing and that it gave you some relief from any imposter syndrome that you might be dealing with. If you are already asleep at this point, then sweet dreams. I hope that you wake up feeling refreshed